Okay. Hello, 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 everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, known as the Nutrition Detective around these here YouTube parts. And we have a special episode today. I know most of you are probably wondering what happened on Tuesday, where we were. And I decided that, well, Beth and I had talked about doing this. So Beth Martens is a guest today of King Hero's Journey. And very happy to have her on here. I have partaken of her work and she has partaken of my work. And we wanted to go over some parts about how some people out on the internet have said that, like, they tell me that, oh, nutrition and detox is not everything, and I'm like, you really think I don't know that? So it's I do actually, for those of you out there, I actually do quite a bit of personal growth work and stuff to try to resolve my stuff from the past that I've accumulated along the way. Who knows when it's been accumulating from? I don't try to figure that out too much, but if you're not working on the mental, emotional, spiritual parts of things, it's quite likely you're not going to fix everything by just changing what you eat or don't eat. And I've never been one to say that it fixes everything. So people out there claiming that I do, I'm like, no, it just be like, if you get your car engine to run better, it just if you get your brain to run better, it runs better. But still, if you've got stuff getting in the way, old, as Beth would like, old programs, right, Beth? Old programs running, then even if it's running well, the programs are just still overloading it. So Beth and her work, if you want to hold up your book, Beth, Beth has her book, Journey. And she sent me that, and I got to read it, and I went over I did my archetype quiz, which we'll link that soon. And then we did a couple sessions together, and I had a lot of fun with it and going through it. I went through the king stuff for me, the archetype and the nurturer archetype. And it was actually very, very fitting. I saw myself in it, and I saw when Beth talks about the shadow or the unconscious part of the archetypes that she goes over, I could see where these things in my life had kind of diverted and gone the way that I wouldn't have liked, versus the more conscious and the way that I did like later. So, and she helped me work through some of that stuff, and it was I highly suggest it. So that's why we are here talking today. So Beth, I'm going to give you the floor, and you can go over. I mean, you're a big fan of the Love Your Liver program now, and so we're kind of both doing both sides. And why don't you give us like an overview of your work, if you would.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. Honestly, this is like Christmas for me. I don't really celebrate much Christmas anymore, but it feels to be the same. I've never gotten evangelical about anyone else's work but my own. I'm very self-involved. So it is a very, very high testament. And before I share the things that have changed for me, I'll just let people know that I'm an archetype and deprogramming coach. I have coached a lot in business, but I've turned my focus now to actually training coaches. Thanks to the pandemic in 2020, I was asking God, okay, what now? What are we going to do now that everything is, maybe the world is coming to an end, or it's not coming to an end? So I asked God, what would be next? And I heard this: do your coaching training so that there's more people in the world to help assist those of us who want to go deep into the truth and find our freedom within, because you can't create it in the world by fighting and railing against the machine, which I know I tried. That's the rebel archetype. And I nearly died almost 25 years ago of a stage 4 lymphoma. I'm going to go deep into that once we get into some of the questions. But I ultimately survived, and I should have died by all signs. I was told I wouldn't survive without a stem cell transplant after the second diagnosis of a stage 4 lymphoma. They told me I was heading for death. And at that time, I weighed my odds because half the people died doing the stem cell transplant. And I knew at that time that it would be such a huge violence to my body and soul that I would rather face death. And so I did. And I did it with the work of archetypes that helped me to be so specific about where I was losing my life energy. And I turned the corner, and I never had to look back. So that taught me the the power in this work. And then I've spent the 20 years after surviving developing it. So I coach people one-on-one. I do coaching training, as I mentioned. The new session is coming up in September. I host the House of Free Will, which is a private member association where my family is, the people that I speak the most candidly with of all. I host the King Heroes Journey podcast, which is Garrett's been on 3 times, and I'm hoping there will be at least 3 more times, maybe more, where I talk to wonderful people. I want to shout out to Alex Zek, who introduced me to you, Garrett, because that has been an absolute life changer. And his interview with me was yesterday. I interviewed him on my channel, and it was epic. So you'll definitely want to tune in. We sung your praises, or I sung your praises quite a bit there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, Alex Zek going on that show was a lot of fun. And it was, I think I opened his eyes to some interesting things, and obviously opened your eyes to it. And then now we're here chatting like this. So we had some questions, right? We were going to go over the questions, or we're going to go over your testimonial first. I don't remember.
I would love to share how
Okay.
my life has changed in 5
Sure.
months, in a very short time. And I understood at the beginning, one of the principles was that you're in it for the long haul. So right away, I committed to 3 years of trying this. And, I wanted to look away, Garrett. I didn't want to watch the first time. I didn't want to watch the second time. I didn't want to watch the third time. I didn't want to start binging on all of your videos. I didn't want to host you for a live stream. I didn't want you to be right. But the truth is the truth, and it prevails. So I have had the great pleasure of seeing the proof of that. And, I'll go into more detail again about how I've been poisoned so big. But the things that have changed for me in this short time is that, for example, I used to get what I call an eye stinger. I would get poison out the eyes on a regular basis, and it would be a showstopper. I couldn't drive. I couldn't see. It was like, if I couldn't wash my eye in that moment, I would be stuck for like half an hour with this poison coming out of my eyes. That's done. I have suffered hot flashes since I did chemotherapy since I was 29, and those have vastly reduced. So that's amazing for me, like really good. Obviously, sleep has improved because of that. After I went through all the chemo treatments and I turned down the stem cell transplant and I decided that's it, it's over, I'm not doing this. Then I got shingles, a very severe outbreak that put me in the hospital. And then I've suffered that ever since, having outbreaks. And now it is basically completely gone. I'll get tiny little signs of it. It comes up super gentle, goes away by itself. I used to smash it with supplements. And of course, then it would come back with a vengeance over and over again. So that is miraculous for me to have experienced. I healed my pooper. Now I just talk about my pooper a lot, and, which I had to get past that barrier. But that's a really big deal. Honestly, there's happiness in your body releasing. It's the same the mental, emotional, spiritual as it is for the physical. If you can let go of poison, it's like, yay, let's celebrate. And, my night vision is improving for my driving. My son and I were out the other night and I couldn't believe it. I hate to admit it, but I started to drive by feel at night. I have really good senses in other ways, but my vision has definitely improved. I'm hoping to get rid of these readers pretty soon. I enjoy higher energy levels overall when I feel good, because I'm still going through periods of detox. That happens and is normal in the Love Your Liver. But when I feel good, I feel better than I've ever felt in my entire life. Right? That's no word of exaggeration. It's been literally a miracle for my life. I don't feel like I'm going to get a cold every 5 minutes in the winter, although I did nearly drop dead in Mexico when I went there. Made a lot of mistakes that I'm hoping to talk about and share with people so they don't have to make them. Sleeping deeper and longer, producing more bile, moving more toxins. It takes me a lot less time to recover from sunburn now, which since I'd been pregnant, I would always go through 3 or 4 weeks of really itchy, greasy, painful rashes after that. And something shifted when I was pregnant, obviously, and that's shifted and changed now. All the symptoms related to copper toxicity, which I'm so grateful to know about now that I had no idea what all of that was. But in my case, it was TMJ with my jaw, teeth grinding. I've ground my teeth down. The incisors are completely flat. I would get regular hiccups. I would have ringing in my ears, tinnitus, regular headaches, periodic migraines, and nausea. And that is now, just coming up in smaller waves, but not the regular, constant, ongoing kind of thing that I was experiencing. I gave up a lot of food addictions I find that to be a miracle that I was addicted to so many poisons that I thought were health foods. Darn it, eh? It was, the diet change was super hard, but I have been able to use my work to get past that. And I want to talk about that as well. And not to belabor it, but I think that, I still have a long way to go, but I can't express enough gratitude for your work and your persistence and willingness to take all the hits for the truth, because it is, honestly, I do send prayers for your long and prosperous life.
Well, thank you very much for that. Actually, I do want to add, so I did do, so I did your work, and I did some other more simplistic stuff. Because I was wanting to work on my stuff around my relationship with Kelsey, because I had stuff to work around. And then all of a sudden, the funny thing is how these things, when you do this personal growth work, it doesn't always hit right away, right? It can take a while. And the funny thing was just recently I just decided out of the blue, I was like, I'm going to tighten up my diet like a lot. Like, I'm going to start doing the repetitive foods thing. And I kind of thought about it the other day, and I go, that's like not me. I've talked on the live stream about like how I rage against that. I'll be like, I will not do that. If I'm telling myself you're going to eat the same foods daily, day in, day out, I will not do it, because nobody tells me what to do, even myself. Right. And then all of a sudden the other day I was like, I'm just going to do it. And I started doing it, and I'm going, I can do this. This is not a problem. I'm not feeling deprived or like I need more variety and all the stuff that I would kind of do before, that I see some of my family members do still. And I went, wow, that was kind of cool. And then when we were just talking about food addictions, and I saw some of the testimonials from your people who have done the Love Your Liver thing, I went, wait, maybe in a way I just worked on my food addiction in terms of that part, or like the rebel part of it, me being like, you're not going to tell me what to do, even if it's me. So that was kind of an interesting thing. So yeah, always remember, folks, with mental, emotional, spiritual work, it doesn't always hit you right away. Sometimes it like marinates a while, and then all of a sudden you change and you go, where'd that come from? And then if you might remember that you did that stuff. So
exactly. Could I chime in on that point?
Yes.
The pleasure of food is extremely important to me. And so I wept when I thought I would have to deny myself the pleasures of food as I knew them. And because my taste changed, the pleasure came back. Pure food tastes good. Pure water tastes good.
Right.
And I have no lack of pleasure whatsoever, just in case anybody has that hesitation themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I was just, it does. When I figured out I jokingly, and now I'll put the recipe out there soon. I call it my prison slop. And so Grant has the prison diet, but I just like calling it prison slop because I like the look on people's faces when they hear me say it. I just like messing with people like that. And I'm just sitting there, and I figured out the recipe, and I'm like, wow, this is like really good.
There you go.
My kids are like, what are you eating, Dad? Over and over. And I'm like, they like Chipotle, right? I'm like, it's basically Chipotle. It's just a little different. I joke that it's human dog food, but but I'm having fun with it. And I'm just like, this is what I'm eating, and I'm feeling good, and I'm doing even better, and all that stuff. So,
and feeling good is delicious, by the way.
I mean, really, like then you start to see people who don't feel good, and you're just like, well, you could just do this. It's really easy. I mean, it's easy. It is easy. It's, so it's definitely simple. Not always easy to deal with all of our stuff that we have about that. But yeah, once you get over that, and you just kind of go, oh, this is how it is. I mean, we just think we need variety because we have it, right? If people didn't used to have all this crazy variety of stuff, it was seasonal, and then not everything was available in every area, even in season. And it was like you eat what you had. And now we just have everything around all the time. And we think that if we don't have all that around all the time, we're somehow being deprived. So anyway, we were going to, you want to head into the, thank you for the testimonial. Really
You're very
appreciate that.
welcome. Of course.
And like, I hope, if mine was a testimonial to your stuff, I don't know what happened with my shift recently. I don't know what caused it, but it definitely, I'm sure working with you helped with part of that. So you want to head into we'll head into the questions?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. So great. So I'm going to ask Beth some questions about her history, and so she can elaborate on them, and I may comment here and there on it if I have something worthwhile. And so let's go into that. So Beth, what is your toxic history, and why should you be dead right now?
Well, it started as a child. I a rough estimate of being on antibiotics about 65 times when I got all the throat infections and delirium, and all, they just always put me on those drugs. As I had finished university, I was starting to prepare to travel overseas, and I got a ton of I'll say jabs on the way out, and I was sick before I left for my epic trip. So that was something. And then I was within 9 years diagnosed with cancer. And I feel like that had something to do with it. I hope that can I say the C word, by the way?
I don't have any problem with that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can say either C word. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I get flagged for that stuff. As a young adult, I was also really a heavy rebel, intense rebel. No one could tell me what to do at all. And I was, a partier. I took a lot of drugs and I drank myself nearly to death. I remember one time visiting the beach and I took all this booze with me and I came home with it all. And I realized, I guess I'm not drinking anymore, which was a lucky thing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, nearly died there. And then when I was diagnosed with cancer, I did everything possible to avoid the medical mainstream model because I already knew that it was a deadly zone. And so I went full time into working with naturopaths and doing everything possible that I knew naturally. I now know that natural doesn't mean healthy, right? This is a huge thing that people are severely indoctrinated with. And so everything, not everything was bad, but most things were bad that they were doing to help suppress and it was exactly the paradox, a duration paradox, that how you name that I got better for the first 6 months and then I started to tank. And it was my naturopath who sent me home across the country to do chemotherapy, or to do radiation. What he thought was radiation turned into 11 months of chemotherapy. Every 2 weeks, I was shot up with all these drugs. And it was okay the first time, and it was more, less okay the next time. By the end, I had a near-death experience over it. I almost died one day, lost all my faculties, lost my ability to sit up, lost my ability to speak and use my hands. I figured I was headed for death. And I finally, in that moment, after those months, I stopped fighting it and I surrendered to death. I had a huge awakening, let's say. And the awakening was so big that it sent me into remission. I won't go into a huge amount of detail. I do talk about it extensively and teach about it in my book on the archetypes. So that was, and then when I was diagnosed for the second time after 18 months, because I couldn't recover from the chemo, I didn't have cancer anymore. And I knew that. After the near-death experience, I demanded a test and they revealed that I was in remission, whatever their tests mean. I don't know anymore, but I was diagnosed again 18 months later and they figured that I was going to die, like I said. So I ended up in chemotherapy immediately every single day for 5 weeks. And it was at that point they offered the stem cell transplant. And I went, you know what, you guys, I'm good. I'm gonna cut bait here. Just a short aside that my oncologist committed suicide 2 years later. And it wasn't just because he failed with me, but yeah, crazy. So I did all of those awful drugs. And then I became the natural health seeker. And I went hard on that all the time. I became a green juicer. So every single day I would have a liter of green juice made of all the green herbs and lettuces and all the things you shouldn't have. Unbelievably poisoned with copper now because of that. I slammed natural remedies. I slammed them. I was very aggressive with vitamin C, with garlic. I could take, I would take up to 8 cloves of garlic a day when I was struggling against what I thought was viral infections. Now I know differently based on that. Um, I I didn't start on vitamin D. This one thing I didn't feel the need for vitamin D until the COVIDian era
Mhm.
hit, and they convinced us that we needed that. So I started on that. Forced my son to take that. Luckily, it wasn't for so long, but and also a lot of sulfur foods that I considered to be the best for me. All the sulfur vegetables and the DMSO that. I was trying. It also had the duration paradox where things would work at the beginning and not again later. And then until I met you, my diet was completely chock full of vitamin A because I thought it was good for me. Ate the rainbow, did all that kind of stuff. So that's my toxic history. And now I know that there was no physical reason that I survived, that it was purely the work that I did in the mental, emotional, and spiritual realm, finding the roots of the cause in their blueprint form. So by the time disease hits the body, it's kind of like a court system where we should handle our matters in private. And then if it's not handled in the private, it goes to court, which the body is a court. And it's much less predictable, much less controllable. And by finding the roots, first of all, identifying one archetype that was so severely out of alignment that it was literally sucking the life out of me, and then going in and letting myself die, actually, which I know sounds probably not where the direction everybody wants to go in so much, but there's power in it, because what do, Garrett, is we run from death all day long, and it's intensely toxic. It's very stressful. It causes bile dumps when we think we're, the age-old example of being chased by a tiger. And really, a really quick story for a dear client apprentice of mine yesterday. She lost her keys in the jungle, really hard to find. And she's in Nicaragua and nobody speaks English. And she's got this vehicle she can't recover anymore. And it was through the release work she found the keys in the jungle by sharpening her intuition and taking the stress and the weight off it, and de-identifying with all the things she thought it meant about her. So shout out to her. Shout out to all my students and training coaches right now. Their work is the most heroic of all. They are really going through it and experiencing a lot of benefit, which we'll talk about after.
Yeah. I just wanted to say the funny thing about that I figured out on my own was, like, when I lose something, right, and I know it's somewhere and I've lost it, and you try to think about where it is and you can't, right?
Right.
And then I just go and I'll, like, lay down and I'll be like, I'm just gonna let it come to me, and then it does. So it's like the whole, like, holding on too tight, right? It slips through your fingers, and then you just kind of let go and it pops in. So that's probably not as intense as what she did, but it's just something I figured out over the years, was just stop thinking about it. Like, if you forget a word, stop trying to remember it and just let it go, and it'll come in like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So anyway.
Exactly. One addition to that is I say, when in doubt, clean. And it's the same for the body as for your home, right? So then when you start to declutter and you get things, I inevitably end up finding everything that I need.
Yep. Okay, so let's go into your next question. How you survived cancer doing a lot of wrong natural and toxic therapies, and why it took you 3 years to survive it against the odds, and then why it didn't need to take so long, knowing what you know now.
Exactly. So when I started out, I had undeniable symptoms. I had a good lump in my clavicle, and my energy had been waning. I had been, unfortunately, turning to I didn't mention the caffeine and my adrenals, but I would turn more and more to coffee every single day. My work was totally stressful. I was working with my family's business, and there were days I would have rather thrown myself off that building than walk into it in the morning. I have always been somebody to put myself out beyond my comfort zone, out where I don't know, and I don't have the expertise yet, but I develop it very quickly that way. So I've caused myself a lot of stress. And so how I survived was I've gone into it a little bit now. I was very lucky to find Carolyn Miss's work on the sacred contracts, which gave me a window into a subject I'd only studied about academically, which is the world of archetypes, as some people know them famously. Carl Jung was the one that made that famous, or maybe he's controlled and they've just made it about him or something. Who knows? And so I didn't know why, but I grabbed that book like it was going to save my life, and it actually did. So I started studying about the archetypes. It took me 3 months to go from the intellectual side of that right into the emotional, felt, lived side of it. But when the archetypes started to come in, it went off in technicolor. I started seeing all these aspects of myself that had been completely in the shadow. And all that means is that they were completely hidden from me. I didn't see them about myself. And so when something is in the unconscious, it draws energy. It's a very expensive unconscious process going on. And so, in short, to awaken the shadow, however you want to say that, to bring the shadow to light and consciousness, then it stops being a shadow. It stops requiring energy to suppress with a vengeance. Same theme with vitamin C and garlic and all that stuff. It's all suppression in it, and you need more and more and more. And so it was sucking the life right out of me. As soon as I unsuppressed that very important rebel part of myself, then I went from being a dying person to a living person practically overnight. Nobody could even believe it. I had it confirmed with a test. I said goodbye to all the medical system. And that's in short. So since then, I have developed a lot of tools to teach what I did, because it was sort of a spontaneous, miraculous healing. I couldn't have explained to you what I did at that time. I was just doing whatever I was guided to do. And so I've now spent the last 20 years unpacking all of that and making that work available to others. And I actually certified in a release process that was created by Lester Levinson, who similarly was on his deathbed of a double heart attack. His doctors sent him home to die. But he was a genius mentally. He had so much power in his mind that he thought, I wonder if those doctors are actually wrong. And so he had the idea to let go of all of his experiences that were not some kind of love, meaning they were some kind of fear. And he was in 90 days successful 100% to let it all go, every bit of it. And he awakened fully. Now, I don't say he's the guru and you should go worship him, and he's passed already, but I had the great privilege to study with the students that had worked with him while he was alive. And so that put the icing on the cake and showed me a short form of what I already was doing that makes it really approachable. And even if somebody knows nothing about it, they can do it as long as they can feel.
Yeah.
Right. People that can't feel. Now, I want to give you kudos, Garrett, because I didn't know when I offered to demonstrate my work for you. I didn't know if you could do it or not. And usually a man has a much harder time. So, you got to cut them a lot of slack. But testament to all the work that you'd already done on yourself, you were able to dive right in and go for some very deep stuff. So that's beautiful and amazing. Not everybody.
Well, I just wanted to add, like, for any of you guys out there, or even, especially guys, as you're saying, especially guys will avoid their BS. But if you're going to work with somebody on mental, emotional, spiritual, mind, body, if you're going to go there and you're going to spend your energy and your time and your money, and they're asking you questions, or you're trying to get down to it, and you have it pop into your head as this is the issue, say it. Like, don't be like, oh no, I don't want to say that. Oh no, that can't be it. Oh no, like your brain brought it, your intuition brought it up.
Exactly.
And it's saying this is the thing. And I just got to the point with the work I had done. I was just like, I'm not trying to hide anything here. I'm here to get help. So if you're going to do the work, like, just go. And I always tell people, this is a funny little thing I have about intuition and your heart versus your mind, right? When you're thinking about, should I do this? Should I, whatever? there's like, when you ask yourself that question, there's a split second where your heart, the little voice of your heart says, do this. And then right immediately after that, like your brain and your fear will come in and be like, no, 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 you should do this. So I'm always like, think about what's that little teeny voice that comes up right before your brain overpowers it. And then that's really what your heart is saying. It's just not very loud. Your brain is very loud and your fear is very loud, but the heart isn't. So yeah, I don't know where I got that, but at some point I just was like, just say it. Cause yeah, there was some interesting deep stuff that we went into in that session. And I was surprised at what came up. So yes, but thank you for that. It was absolutely great. Yeah.
And I want to add to what you're saying that the intuition is very powerful, but it's not that the thinker is also wrong or that we need to suppress the thinker, that they work perfectly together. This is the masculine and feminine archetype. They are actually not two archetypes. They're one. They work together like a team. It's just been kind of, the intuition has been more beaten out of us, and we've been encouraged to be thinkers. But you can use it for anybody that has a really powerful intellect. Good on you. You can now use it to point towards the more inner work and to, you know, that small still voice. I actually had a miracle moment in Mexico when I finally came to out of my delirium enough to ask myself the question, what program is this illness? And the still soft voice said one word, and it was exactly what I needed to hear. It revealed this house of, or I don't know, unfolding. I can't find a metaphor right now, but it unfolded the huge dynamic that had created that whole thing. And then I cried for 7 hours and I had a massive healing. If I didn't let a massage therapist beat me up at that time, I might have been good.
Did you have deep tissue? Was it a deep massage?
Well, I told her to back off like 100 times, but she still convinced me to go through some pain. And now I just see what a mistake that was, because I had a huge, massive bile dump that night.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I'm not a fan of deep tissue massage and like that stuff. Edgar Cayce was not either. Edgar Cayce said he watched a guy basically kill himself. He had a heart attack after a blood clot thrown after a deep tissue massage. Like deep tissue massage, anything, if you're getting a massage and you're making faces, you're making the pain face, it's too much. Like use a massage, if you've got tight muscles that show like problems that show up over and over, the problem is somewhere else. It's not that spot. Something else is causing it. So figure out the other things. Like my daughter with her knee pain. We went to a chiropractor, we went to two chiropractors. One of them said it's her hip and one of them said it's her ankle. And they fixed them both. And in one treatment of each, well, actually one treatment of the first one with the hip, knee pain was gone. So the place where the pain is not where the pain originates from most times. So anyway, so just think about that. Same thing with mental, emotional stuff, right?
Exactly. And we're addicted to pain, Garrett, unfortunately. So she convinced me towards the end that this pain was good. And guess what? It created endorphins. And the endorphins numbed me out. So I felt good, but I was not good at all. It was a smokescreen. I would have rather known where I was at. And so, yeah, my lesson is learned. I basically don't let anybody touch me anymore because they don't get it. They don't understand that pain is not an advantage when it comes to the healing process.
Yes, very much. Like that's why I like acupuncture. If I'm going to go get something to relax, I actually go get acupuncture because the needles don't bother me at all. And I just fall asleep there and I come out of it like more relaxed than anything else. Yes. So anyway, so let's get to the next one. So we were going to talk about the relationships between the liver, the emotions, and the state of the world.
Right. Well, this has been a very big awakening because I've gone through my periods of feeling like $1 million, and the release work becomes very easy. I can go for much deeper things than I might be able to do if I'm low. And then when I go through my periods of detox, I see the emotion. So I'll use my Mexico breakdown as an example again, that I experienced so much anger and so much internal opposition. Interestingly, that's what my talk was about at Anarchapulco, was on the marriage of the opposites. So instead of giving my talk, I was there doing the PhD in opposition inside myself. And so I can see, and every time I start to dump copper, I also start to get gnarly in my, not only just my body, but my emotions get gnarly, and I will feel more, you know, like I want to take a piece out of somebody, and I don't, and I know how to release. And it is actually a miracle that I haven't killed anybody yet, given the state of my liver, and a testament to my work that you can work both ends of it very successfully, because I have been able to stop a bile dump with a single release. I've been able to stop a migraine, which is in less than an hour. Those things can go on for people who get them. They can go on for 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours, or longer. There was one time I started to get a migraine while I was driving, and I got the rainbows in my eyes, and I thought, oh, darn, I can't do anything now, but I'll release when I'm driving, which please don't quote me that I say that, and I'm not recommending that. But I took the chance to do it, and in 3 releases, rainbows gone, and the migraine never actually resolved into a full-blown anything. The pain was gone. I just rested, and I was fine. So what was that question again?
It was about the connecting the liver, the emotions, and the state of the world.
Right. So the state of the world, right? I don't go in public very much, but I had that recent experience of traveling, and I met so many toxic people that I got pretty beat up on in my security experiences, because I don't do X-ray machines, and I don't take unnecessary crap, and I generally have been able to get past the facial recognition cameras. But this time entering into the US, they smashed and practically killed me. They took me aside, they detained me, they forced me to fingerprint, they threatened me. After he revealed that he didn't have to do that, that he had the choice to do that or not do that. And so I started off in this adversary. Every public is, I don't go there much anymore. I really don't. I have my people, my community, my little world, my silo, or however they call it. My silo is good. I've got good people in my world who, I literally have no meaningless conversations, not one in my regular day. But you go out into the world and everybody's toxic, and so it shows. And now it's blown up. So much fear porn that people eat like it's breakfast. They love that stuff. They are addicted to it. Because why? Like someone just said they went for a burger at McDonald's, and I don't hold it against you, but we crave poison when we're poisoned.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Toxins or poisons beget poisons kind of thing. Yeah. We want more poison. The more toxic we are, the more poisons we want.
Exactly. So you create trouble in your life with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers, or you suppress the trouble. Even worse, you suppress it with a vengeance. And you use all your energy to pretend that you're a good person, or pretend that you don't want to kill somebody, or all of those mechanisms that we have to get along in society. And they're useful because we don't kill each other quite as much as we might otherwise.
That's generally a very good thing, I think.
That works in our favor.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just wanted to say about the suppressing things, and I mean, you just want to think, folks, like there's ways of toxins coming into us. There's physical toxins, and there's mental, emotional, spiritual stuff coming in that we are creating in ourselves. And so when we talk about, like, if we're going to talk about toxic load, and there's people who say, what I don't personally jive with is when people say that, like, all disease, like the guy who says all disease is like from past trauma. And I'm like, wait, so if somebody was fine and then they get poisoned with arsenic and they get sick, it's all because of a trauma? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So like some people can get sick from all the stuff they got going on mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Absolutely. Could that be the main driver of their sickness? Absolutely. They fix that. They fix their illness. People could poison themselves with physical, biochemical things. And that may be the driver of their stuff. So I work in my area, which is the biochemical nutrition detox stuff. And then Beth does her stuff in her area of work. And, the ideal would be to work on both, to get both set, because they'll feed on each. You get a positive cycle out of it. You get a virtuous cycle, if you will, where
Right.
one helps the other. You get rid of your programs, and then you can do the diet better, or you get rid of some of the toxicity in yourself, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can do this work now. I'm not resisting it. So they do feed on each other. That's why I always think it's so funny when people say I only do this, and I'm like, no, that's just what I'm an expert at. That's what I don't go to. I wouldn't go to a baseball coach if I want to get better at basketball, right? But you can be good. You can get good at both of them, and you can do both of them. And it's good to have different activities that you're doing at the same time. So that's what I wanted to. Go ahead.
Let's say one thing about that. So I had to conclude after I survived cancer that what the cause of the cure was is that I returned, as I already said, I returned enough energy to my system because
Mhm.
we know how to heal our bodies. Now, not mentally, we don't know how to heal, but our bodies have healing systems.
Mhm.
And if you take the weight off, whether it's taking arsenic out of your diet or removing a program that's costing you energy to run every day, you are taking weight out of your system, and some healing can naturally happen from there.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. So let's head to the next one. So, Beth, what is the psychology of food, and why do people want to reject this path?
Well, food and religion are in the same category in your brain. I don't know physiologically how to call that. I should have done some research. It's
Okay.
been a little bit, I will. I'm following your lead because you're such a good researcher. But I know that when you threaten somebody's religion, their version of God, their belief system, their cosmology, some people get really upset, right? People always say you ruined the family dinner because you talked about religion. And then so food is the same, that when you challenge somebody's food paradigm, they immediately go into an emotional resistance because it's what they're, very often people are indoctrinated with love is food. If you love me, you'll eat my food, the mothers said, or the grandmothers said. And here, take this poison because you love me, right? And then people would gob, gob, gob. They would eat all that stuff just for the emotional, their own emotional satisfaction or to satisfy others' emotional deficiencies. And so it's so intensely tied that I want to shout out to a very, very good friend who has been watching. He watched my live streams with you. He started binging on your live streams. He realized I'm making this turn. I'm taking this turn. But guess what? He has a huge family, all young children, and a beautiful wife that had learned to cook all traditional foods. And she was like the hero for that, all the raw milk and the eggs and the right, just what we thought were healthy from maybe Weston A. Price traditions and that kind of thing. And shout out to her. I already love you. I've only met you once. If you're watching this, and I could feel she was starting to hate me because here I had introduced her husband, the head of the family, to some new turn her life upside down kind of thing. And it took some weeks, and then all of a sudden I got a text saying, "Well, could you just share with me, what dishes do you make?" Because she saw everything that was eliminated and thought she had nothing to make a meal with anymore. So I actually made a wonderful list. I'm happy to share this with anybody, with about, I don't know, 10 different dishes like spaghetti and meatballs
Mhm.
and burgers on a spelt bun and some, burritos. It's really not as limited as you think. It's just careful to know that I'll go for white corn tortilla instead of the yellow, and
Yeah.
those kind of tweaks, and I'll take out the garlic and the onions and the spices and the fat, which I was a fataholic. Oh my goodness, I think.
Oh
And then
yeah.
I'm skinnier than anybody. I wonder if that's related to undertypes, by the way,
Probably.
eating too much fat.
Well, the fat. I wonder if undertypes are not able to, because just the theory of where their bile's going. I think it's intrahepatic cholestasis. So their bile is going more into their blood, and so it's not going down into their gut. And so they don't actually get as many calories. This was somebody on the chat one day proposed this idea. So I don't remember who it was, but it was a brilliant idea. So if you ever hear this, I'm trying to give credit. I just don't know who to give the credit to. I don't remember. But it was that they're not absorbing as many calories because the bile is not going into their gut. So the one of the purposes of the bile would help you absorb fat. Well, if all of a sudden you're not absorbing fat from your diet very well, that'll reduce the actual calories getting into you, because it's what you absorb, not just what you shove in your cake hole, right? You could eat a rock and you don't get anything out of it. You just poop out a rock. So if you eat fat and it doesn't absorb, it doesn't matter. So I think that's potentially, theoretically, part of undertypes and that may be why you did so much fat and you were able to do so much fat and you still were underweight, was because you just weren't absorbing much of it.
It's actually, we don't have to belabor it, but I was an overtype when I was eating all that fat. I was an overtype. It's not very long that I've been undertype. That's a shift since 2 years ago when I had a breakdown. So I ate my weight in fat every day. And I think I became the under, possibly due to that, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get you out of it. You're already making so much progress. Like, you'll get out of the undertype, and that's always a fun thing when you start to see the undertype resolve, because then we know we're really moving your health in the right direction. So
yeah, exactly. It's been wild for me. I almost disappeared 2 years ago after a breakdown, and then when I was away in 3 days, I shrunk down 3 days. That was freaking me out. But I'm better now.
Yes.
So yeah, that's I think that yeah. So and I can just follow up that what challenges people are going to face when they go Love Your Liver is a whole bunch of stuff that I had to face. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. I imagine everybody goes through it. Is that, first of all, the limiting of the pleasure we talked about already, which is no limit at all. But you have to work through that, right? You have to let go. In my world, that's the hedonist archetype that I write about in my book. Pleasure is very important. It's actually a path to God in its most awakened place, but a lot of pitfalls and addiction and trying to fill emptiness. So that's something that's very good to do the release work on. Also the waste, right? I had a fridge jammed with all the wrong food. Jammed. And I hated my full fridge, but I was always prepping, for the apocalypse and stuff.
Right.
And so it took me a number of weeks. I know I've had so many issues. I'm not trying to make you feel sorry for me. I'm really not. And I don't want any sympathy. And please don't run after me with remedies. If you don't know already, then that's kind of annoying. And I tend to use, by the way, spelt noodles. It, to me, digest the very best. And darn, I shouldn't watch the chat. Where was I going with that? So yes, the challenges that you're going to face, the waste. I came from grandmothers and grandfathers that lived through the Depression, the fake and gay Depression, and it didn't ever need to be. But they suffered immeasurably. So they went into starvation mode, and then wasted food is a very big sin in my world. Even though I did it, I was like, I would still end up wasting stuff because I would have way too much food. And then, so you have to go through a grieving period, a grieving process, and a decision. I'm going to use this up, or actually I'm going to let it go, because it's not of any use to put poison in my body. That's not less waste. That's more waste, right? I already have accumulations. So, and I had preps. Luckily, guess what, Garrett? I prepped beans, which I didn't eat anymore. I was told don't eat them. They're high carb. That's bad for you, right? But I had prepped all the right beans, which is a miracle. So now I'm just busy eating all my beans. And so, yeah, there's a very big psychological shift that needs to take place in order to easily transition. Like you say, you can do this diet immediately. This isn't what you go slow with. You go slow with supplements. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, you got to watch out the soluble fiber. You can push too hard on soluble fiber, but otherwise, yes.
Right, but the shift, the elimination of the toxins, right? Yeah. That can happen immediately. I had to go a little slower because I had a huge indoctrination around food and all the grief and everything that I went through. So it's really just to if anybody's experiencing that, I want you to know that is a normal thing, and something that if you can also very much assist yourself with deprogramming work.
Yeah, the supplement graveyard, as I talk about, right?
Oh, exactly. I've got this enormous box in the garage now. Thank God I kept it because I had my vitamin C to save myself when I got home.
Right.
from over detoxing the first 2 days. I had to titrate off that.
Yeah, we actually, Beth and I talked about this. So if you haven't seen my high dose vitamin C live stream, we talk about if she was at a point where she was like, I was talking to her and texting, and I was like, I think, and I was like, do you want to shut it down? And she was like, yeah. And I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. And she did it. And, she got through it, and, it can be rough. So there's times when, as I went over in the anaphylaxis and the sepsis show, like sepsis is like too intense a bile dump, and it can kill you. Like you're leaking bile, like literally in the anaphylactic dogs, they had holes in their gallbladder. They could see, they could visualize a hole. So they were leaking, right? So if you leak too much, if you're putting too much bile into your system, and this is how hospitals save lives, is if people are like too stressed, or for whatever reason, they're leaking too much stuff everywhere in their system, they shut down the bile dumping. That's how they can keep you alive. So am I against that in the right situation? No, I'm not against that in the right situation. But that's what conventional medicine and drugs, and even a lot of supplements that are the stronger types, that's what they're really good at. And so if people don't understand that, then they use them. Like it's like people like methylene blue is an IV drug in hospitals and it has a black box warning. And then people are taking drops of it like as a daily thing. And you're going, are you seriously, you're using an ER drug on a daily basis? Like you really think that's good for you? Anyway, so let's move into the next part. But the supplement graveyard, I remember I honestly have supplements that I still have some left. And I look at them and I go, am I ever going to take that again? And what I've gone to now is if it sits there a year and I never think of it, then it's gone. Then I'm just like, I'm never going to use this. It's done. So that's
really good.
That's my marker of it. I'm like, if I haven't even thought of it in a year, like if I thought of it in a year, maybe I still have a need for it. But if I haven't even thought of it in a year, I don't need it.
Exactly. If I could quickly say, your video about stopping the detox pretty much saved my butt because I had to travel and I wasn't well yet. And so that's how I got through. And it was actually miraculous because I could feel, I was still sick, but I was not, incapacitated where I couldn't walk. There was one time I couldn't walk and I almost got arrested looking for a shuttle, but that's another story.
But yeah, when we learn this stuff, when we have these mechanisms, we can manipulate, in a good way, we can manipulate it when we need to. When we understand it, we can manipulate the system, and we could shut down detox for a short period of time. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you need at the time, we do that. And if it's not, then, that one of the things I do think is some people think that they're like, but I don't want, they're feeling bad. They've made themselves feel bad because they're pushing detox too hard. And then they come to me and they go, what do I do? And I go, stop pushing the gas pedal. Like, please, really, I'm driving too fast. What do I do? Take your foot off the gas pedal a bit and you'll be at a speed that you like. But when we understand that we control it for the most part, then we have choices. But then when I have people who are like, no, I won't slow down. And I'm like, well, then if it's the joke I have, like, if you like your disease, you can keep your disease. Well, if you like your suffering, you can keep your suffering. If you want it less, then we do less. So anyway.
Exactly. Could I throw in a testimonial for your consultation and testing?
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Because this is the best investment I've honestly ever made. I was on the edge a little bit. It seemed a little pricey, no offense or anything like that. And then I just thought, you know what, I want to do this. And then it ended up quite delayed because I had a hard time from Canada getting any tests done. And we had a postal strike and all that kind of thing. It turned out to be perfectly timed that I started just before I traveled to get some good advice. And then when I was away and I had the ability to come on your office hours that is open for 6 months after, where you get follow-up as much as 4 times a week if you want. Like this is outrageous level of service. So I don't mean to discourage you from providing that level of service at all, but the comfort that I got from being able to consult with you that day, to know what was going on, to be able to stop putting my foot on the gas. I didn't know. I thought it was good for me, but I didn't have the knowledge at that time. And so it's absolutely priceless. I can't recommend it enough. It's, it was only about 1,000 Canadian dollars. and it's already paid its way in dividends.
Yeah, let me just explain a little bit on that so people understand. So when you get the consultation package with it, you can get it with me, or you can get it with our other 3 health facilitaors.
Shout
And
out to
then,
Kelsey, she's awesome.
oh yes, thank you.
Yeah.
She's actually here right now. She's on doing a consult right now in the other room. So what you get, so you can work with any of our health facilitators, myself included. And then you get the tests are included in it. So we're not like other places where all of a sudden you walk in and the doctor's fee is $500 and they're going to tack on like another $1,000 of labs, and then you're going to have $500 of supplements a month. Like the supplements are a la carte because people need different amounts. Like we're not going to just give everybody the same thing. Our list of supplements is very small, but so things are normal that we use, but it's not everybody's getting the same thing. And then so you get the test, you get the consultation, and then the office hours, which is what she's talking about. All 4 of our health facilitators, myself included, do a Zoom meeting. It's a small group thing, so yes, people are going to hear your stuff, you're going to hear other people's stuff, but that's the only way we can give this much service to people. We can't schedule that many people. I think I had 12 questions in my office hours yesterday. It was 2 hours long, and 12 people, and it was I thought it went really well. I was actually driving on the highway to do it because I'm still going to do it. I had to drive to Phoenix. I'm still going to do it. I did it on the freeway. But so all you get access to me in the office hours. Whoever you see, whoever does your consult, you still get access to all the facilitators' office hours. So if you want to talk to me, I taught the facilitators how to do the consult. So if you don't do the consult with me, you still can come and get help, follow-up, support, troubleshooting from me as part of the program. So that's, I can imagine, I mean, we have the whole Love Your Liver program, right? And if I were to go and show people, and this is nothing against you, Beth, this happens all the time, right? I say in there, like, slow down, this could happen, watch out for this. If this happens, don't do this or do less. We all miss that stuff, right? Because we all just think, oh, I'm going to be fine. I don't need to worry about that. We just kind of like let it slip off, like water off a duck's back. And then all of a sudden these things happen, and we don't necessarily go and review the articles about what to do. And so then if you come into the office hours and we're like, did you increase some supplement recently? And you're like, yeah, actually, this has been going on a week. I increased this supplement about a week ago. And then it's like, okay, that's probably it. So let's back off or take it out, see if that's it. And if it is, then we just do less. So the detective work, actually, for those who come to the office hours or listen to me enough, you become your own little detective. And you start to go, what did I change about the time this happened? And then you can look at it. I mean, I heard, folinic acid. I had some around, and I was like, I'll just try taking it again. And I started taking it, and then I was like, I didn't realize it for days, and I slept like crap. I was just sleeping like crap every night. And I went, what is going on with this? And then I was like, what did I change about 5 days ago? And then I was like, I look on my supplement counter and I'm like, that. And I took it out and the problem went away. So, not everything agrees with everybody, but we have our framework, and you're trying to make everything work within your framework. So having some help to navigate that, especially when you're first learning it, and we have all this information on you, it can be really, it's like having a coach, just being like, oh yeah, you just make this little change and then you'll be fine. So it can be very easy sometimes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And somebody said, oh, so salesy. It's honestly, I never ever would do this disingenuously. If I'm praising something, then it's the real deal. I just wanted to say that.
Gosh, salesy. I don't interesting for people. Just I have there's a thing out there where people think that like if it's related to health, it should be free.
Yeah.
Like we should, and I'm just going, wait, I'm supposed to like go against the machine and starve at the same time by giving it all away to everybody for free. And then people value what they pay for something, right? So then if I just give it away for free, then everybody just goes, wait, this what? Anyway, it's kind of funny. I get that a lot. And I just go, I'd like to make a living. My dad was a dentist. He made a living. I like to make a living. It just, that boggles my mind that I'm sorry. And so for all of you out there who have been through the ringer, the medical ringer, and they took tons of your money, tens of thousands of dollars, I'm very sorry. We are here to help fix that, but we can't do it without keeping the lights on. You know what I mean? So anyway,
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I spent $80,000 with my naturopath almost 25 years ago. $80,000. And I had to go for all the other medicine. It was a fail after all that money.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas you're putting yourself out of business, people get better.
Yeah.
And they don't need you.
Yeah. So I don't know, that kind of gets to me, but you know, people are gonna throw shade on anything they can. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm going against the grain so much, like I am. So anyway, let's do the next one. So Beth, I just want to say, people were talking about tomatoes in the chat because you said spaghetti and meatballs.
Oh yes, no tomatoes.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Yeah. I haven't totally figured out the sauce. I do end up using, like, my main flavorings are tamari, and I use a little bit of fermented creme fraiche. So
Okay.
that can give a little bit of a base. I try not to have too much of that, but and then I use apple cider vinegar to flavor things because I like it and it's probiotic. And then, so yeah, I don't know what to do for a sauce. There's no,
Right. Yeah.
but I have made a
Sauces-
lot of gravy.
Sauces are hard. Sauces are hard in the program. You know, I mean, other than you got a couple of things to work with, and but you know, as people get better, and this is the thing, like as an example with the sauces, where we're not. I mean, I highly do not suggest tomato sauce, folks. Like, that's straight nightshade. You're just eating tons of tomatoes all at once. Cooking will get rid of the formaldehyde in it. If you didn't know, there's formaldehyde in tomatoes that comes out. That's why original Italian sauces, they would cook it, they would simmer it for like 3 hours, and they'd leave the lid cracked because they're simmering off the formaldehyde and the methanol in it. Methanol turns into formaldehyde. So that's why they do that. So we not really suggesting you eat that. It is, in the nightshade problem is a problem. So I just wanted to clarify, there might be white tomatoes, but they're still going to be nightshades.
Okay. Right.
There may be. But another thing about this is you don't have to be perfect on the program. We have a lot of people. So people know that coffee is not, well, okay, you're going to be living your life. There's going to be things that you do that are not perfect. And that's one thing that people tend to, we do get a lot of perfectionists who think they need to be optimal and do everything absolutely right. And that's an issue in itself, right? But let's say we have a lot of people who get a lot better on the program, and they may be 6 months, a year and a half in, and they're like, look, I haven't been able to, or I haven't wanted to give up my coffee yet. I'm just not going to do it. And I'm like, are you getting better? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, technically you're okay then. You're making progress, right? If you may hit a plateau at some point, or you may decide, your body may kind of the coffee starts not tasting good, and you just don't feel as good when you have it, and your body starts telling you now it's time to move on, and then you do. So, or maybe you never do and you get better, and that's the main thing you do that's not on the program, is you do some coffee. Like, it's not the end of the world. As we're talking about, like the energy thing that you talked about, where there's like programs sucking your energy, and there's like toxic stuff sucking your energy, or nutrient deficiency sucking your energy. The more of these things you fix, the more energy you regain for healing. And again, it's just a math equation, right? You need more energy for healing than the energy you're spending or on degeneration. So you want the healing greater than the degeneration. That's it. That's all you have to do. That's the equation. It's like you want the money going into your bank account to be more than the money you're taking out. That's it. So exactly. If you can do that with whatever you're doing, like if you want it to go faster, you got to put more stuff in and take fewer things out. But can you still make progress like this? You don't have to be like this. You can still make progress like this. So that's another, like, it does not have to be optimal. When people come to me and they're like, they use these words of like optimal and perfect, and is this okay? And I'm like, well, everything's technically okay. It's just whether or not you want to make progress. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, it's such a fun thing. What was I just going to say about that? So, yes, okay. So there, one of the programs I help people release is called the Perfect Program. I'll get into this a little bit more. Maybe we're even there.
Sure.
And so it instructs you from the unconscious. It says if you don't get it perfect, you're going to die. And it also can say the inverse because truth is always an inversion. And it might say that if you do get it perfect, you're going to die. So some people go out of their way to make sure things aren't right. And then there are those of us that run that side of it that you need to get it all exactly right. And this is a big hurdle for the Love Your Liver, because if you think you're going to get it all right every day, it's life isn't like that. And you're going to end up with a little bit of copper coming through your shower because your filter only takes out 30%. So you're going to end up with just everywhere. The sky is raining poison, and you have to go out into the world and breathe the air, and that can be toxic. And so if you get into perfectionism around this, you will suffer so much more. And I had to get past that myself.
Yeah, the one, I mean, everybody knows I love my little sayings, and like the one, perfect is the enemy of good enough. Like
Right.
when I integrated that into my life, I was just like, it's kind of just like, get it done. Like, do what you can, get it done, and then let go of the other stuff, right? Because then we're just wasting energy on all this. If you're worrying about the things you can't control, and the
Right.
things that they're just like, yeah, I remember my guy, the teacher of environmental medicine. So he was the toxicity guy in my naturopathic medical school, and he was like, yeah, if you're out driving on the street, like, you're going to have all these toxins in your blood from the exhaust. And I was like, well, I don't want to go driving anymore. But then I started to think, well, I have to, so I might as well. I can't worry about it. Could I do things? I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to buy like a filter for my car or whatever. I'm just like, maybe I just drive less. And I tell people, like, don't run on the road. Like, don't go and suck exhaust pipes to do your cardio. Like, don't be there. It's like, so you can do these things where you avoid them. That's easy, but you need to be able to go and do them at some point. Like, if you need to be able to function in the real world, that's what we're after. We're not trying to create shut-ins, who never can go outside because it's not optimal.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's get into the next one. So we were at, okay, so Beth, what do you suggest to reduce unnecessary suffering and go faster in the transition to the Love Your Liver diet and toxic bile paradigm? Or have you covered a lot of that already?
I've kind of covered a lot of that. And so, yeah, it's, to work both sides of it, or work at any angle that you can work to, as we were talking about, take the stress and the pressure off, and to release the life energy that's tied up in suppression. So to me, these two processes work unbelievably well together. I've got a number of people that have, without me putting them in a headlock, they're coming along for the ride and doing your course. And they're also doing the release work, and they're getting a number of in some cases, pretty miraculous benefits, actually, that maybe you've seen it yourself. I've seen great testimonials on your side. One of the big clues was that one of your people was able to let go of depression in 2 weeks that had been very severe for her. And I'm like, oh, fascinating. And it made me realize how in my world, we're running with weights on, right? By not addressing the physical toxicity, we're making it way harder for ourselves. Again, a miracle that I survived, and that I have been able to go through my life and still develop in my soul, because everything is stacked against me on that side. But what if we work both sides? Then everything could go easier. Every time you let a program go, you are allowing your natural awareness to expand. Now, some people don't want and don't like that because they feel more things. There's more pain. It's true. When somebody is going through something, you're going to feel that more. You don't get to just numb out in the same way. So it's really for the brave hearts. But when you have that greater awareness, then you're smarter. I can manage a staggering amount of details and information, and multitask, and things that some people do look and go, how does she do that? at the volume that I do it at times. And I'm sure people say the same thing about you. But
They've said that about me, yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can take a lot of pressure off by knowing yourself, and then that, it's kind of one of the last questions we had, how you become much less suggestible, much
Okay.
less hypnotizable. Right? There's 20% of the population that can't be hypnotized, and I'm putting my hand up here. And you can't just placebos don't work on me, right? It's never been the case. And that's where we want to get to, where we can't have somebody go like this in front of us, and then we're like, oh, squirrel, or oh, take a dangerous drug like ivermectin or methylene blue,
Yeah.
kind of thing. We're not suggestible. We're always at the height, much more at the height of awareness.
Yes. Yeah. I remember I had a Russian guy. He was into hypnotism and self-suggestion. He was very much an expert in that. He tried to, he had my brother and I, and he was doing hypnosis stuff on us. And he told me, he's like, it doesn't work. And I was always like, I've done hypnosis tracks at bedtime trying to help things. And I kind of get done with it. And I'm like, it doesn't do anything to me.
Exactly.
Which I always thought was funny, but yeah. So I just wanted to add. So think about it. You have the programs, right? There's the programs that are stuck there, and then there's the toxicity. If you let's say somebody has anxiety, and let's say they've done all sorts of personal growth work, they've done all sorts of therapies, all sorts of mental stuff, but it was like a toxin in them that just kept. So when the toxins come up, your brain becomes this toxic state, and it will absolutely search over and over. It will search through all of your brain to find something to be anxious about. And you're going to have something there. Everybody's got something there the next day you got to be at a baseball game and you're wondering if you're going to be on time. So all of a sudden you start stressing about being on time. It doesn't have to be a big thing. So the toxicity is like when I would see people working on doing growth work, and the same issue, the same pattern came up over and over, even though they keep trying to get rid of it. I'm like, this was 20 years ago. I was like, this has got to be like biochemical, because the biochemical stuff is the onslaught of it. It doesn't take a break because it's just always there. It never goes away. And then, so you do work on it, and you feel like, yeah, it went away for like a day or two, and then it comes right back, and you're like, but I just thought I fixed this. So, but then if let's say you deal with the biochemical stuff, so like people going from LYL to your stuff, you've dealt with the biochemical stuff. So then that makes, when you work on the mental, emotional, spiritual stuff, all of a sudden it clicks and it's gone. That's been the coolest thing, is when you fix either side, it makes the other side easier to fix.
Exactly. You got it. Yeah. And I'll just say something about patterns. Don't get tired of them. I don't care how much work you do in your life. Those patterns are there for a reason. It's your brilliance, how you created that. And you'll find the same pattern at what I call higher and higher levels. Now, higher is not better, because higher becomes more invisible, but your life gets better. You have less things blowing up in your face. If you face losses, you go through them more easily. This doesn't stop anybody from having a loss.
Right.
But those patterns, I finally learned, rather than to go, oh my God, that again, it would be like, oh, good, that again. I can heal another layer of that. And your process is lifelong. Same with mine.
Right.
It's not that you're doing it so you can be done and feel like you're finished. This is the whole life. And if you get to be done and you become awakened, enlightened, whatever that is, you're just going to turn around and make trouble for yourself by helping other people do it.
Well, don't you just go poof when that happens? Isn't that what's supposed to happen? You just poof away. Anyway, so yeah. Do you feel like we covered all your questions?
Yeah, I just want to say one last thing, if you don't mind, about, when it comes to suggestions and the hypnosis and the auto suggestions and all that kind of stuff. In my paradigm, in my direct experience, that's why I have the paradigm, there's no reprogramming. God made us so perfect. Every single thing that we need is already here. So you don't need to tell yourself over and over again, like, I'm wealthy, I'm healthy, I find my keys or whatever. It's this,
Right.
those, I think you're actually spending energy working against yourself. When you let go of what you don't need. Now, maybe there is some parallel here because you're also about adding the nutrients that are deficient because our food is deficient. But I think God is not deficient and life is never deficient at that level. So I'll go back to my original thought on that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think trying to program in is like, it's kind of weird. Like, do you need to do that, or is it just like like we talk about in the program? It's the first thing we need to stop doing is intoxing. Like, so if you just remove the bad, like you don't need as much of the nutrients because you don't have all the bad stuff sucking it up. Again, it's all just an equation, right? If you take out the stuff that needs nutrients to protect you and needs nutrients to detox, but you just never put it in, then all of a sudden you don't need as much.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. Somebody asked me, how would I deal in the world of witchcraft and narcissism and a few other dark things? And I said, I don't deal in those worlds. I don't have a single friend that's a narcissist. I don't go into spooky, scary situations for any entertainment reasons or any other kind of thing. I don't put myself unnecessarily in the line of crap and corruption and darkness. So I don't watch movies. It's far and few between. Once every 2 years, someone will convince me that a movie needs to be watched. And so I'd go out of my way, not to say I haven't been vulnerable at times, but I go out of my way not to put that crap in because why? It gives me work to do. Then I have to release all of the impressions that it made on me. And same with the doom porn in the truth world. I really want to speak out about this. Let it go, you guys. Turn your attention away. It is a mass manipulation. It is engineered that you're afraid all the time. So you're always dumping bile. You're always making bad decisions. No doubt you have lots to say about that.
Well, I just want to add, like, folks, if you're following a bunch of people on social media who are like doom and gloom, and here's the next thing that's going to ruin the world and end the world this week, and or just like, as an example, a personal example. I mean, I used to be into that. I figured out, I was like, this is just not good for me. I just need to get rid of all of this and just unfollow and block and whatever. Just first of all, don't ever be afraid of the block button. I don't care what anybody says about me on Twitter blocking. Like, I will block quick. It's so funny in the personal growth world. They'll be like, don't keep people in your life who suck your energy and who are negative and then all of a sudden I go on Twitter and I'm like, block, 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 block. And they're like, no, not like that. And I'm like, but wait, you just told me to not keep these people in my life. And they're like, but, and I go, I don't have any time for it. Some people try to say I'm emotionally unstable. And I'm just like, wait,
you're not.
Wouldn't an emotionally stable person not put up with the bullshit? Right? Isn't that, I should just let these people just crap on my feed? What is that? Right. So, but one of the big things when I got divorced, and then I started learning about, I had to learn about dating again because I'd been in 24 years out of the game, and I started learning. And then there's red pill, right? And there's, so then I got into that, and then I was realizing over time how poisonous that was. And then when Kelsey came into my life, she's very into all this stuff too. And she goes, the biggest divide that they can create between all humans would be to divide the men and women.
Yes.
Right. Then you're not even into like the races, and you're not into the incomes, and you're not into all this stuff. If they just get like the infertility psyop, which is going to be an upcoming live stream, if they just split men and women, that's all they need to do. So if you guys are out there on social media and your thing is like arguing women are bad, or your thing is like men are bad, you're just contributing to the whole exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want. So don't do that. Unfollow all the negative crap. Like if there is something you need to hear about in the news, if you actually need to hear about it, like it's going to affect you, you will hear about it. There's no, if you have a normal feed, like somebody will bring it up, and then you can go and look at it. But don't like have, as people are seeing now, with the whole like the social media influencers have become the new mainstream media. Just because they're not on the liberal side anymore, they're on the conservative side, doesn't mean they're not controlled.
Yeah.
So that's the new mainstream media. And they do that because, oh, well, everybody's been trained not to trust the mainstream media. They've trained them. So now they bring in the new people who are outside of that. And then you see one day, 10 of them all put up the same story. You see it on Twitter with methylene blue. Methylene blue is the most obvious psyop I've ever seen.
Yes.
RFK Jr. puts them in a glass. He didn't drink it. He never drank it in the video. And why in the
toilet? That's why.
I mean, they just like, they'll just throw this out there. And then there was another video on Twitter going around of a woman and she never drank it either. So you start going, wait, what is going on here? And then all of a sudden, conservative influencers are who just talk like politics and stuff are talking about methylene blue. Like they want to poison you folks. That's their goal. And they want you to pay for it. That's what they want.
Right. Like people who fell for ivermectin, they were telling me it's safe, effective, and cheap.
Oh, safe as water.
Right, right. And then the cheap part somehow got them. Oh, but they're not really charging for it, as if, oh, well, they're not getting rich on it, so then it's good. And it's like, no.
They didn't charge for the shot either.
Right.
Good point. The idea here would be, let's say the pharma cartel has plenty of money and they've decided that their goal now is to just have fewer people. And so the idea, first of all, the idea that the pharma cartel would make anything that they don't make money on, people would be like, well, they don't make much money on it. And it's like, so they're not losing money on it. Well, we know that. And every little subsidiary making generic drugs, who do you think owns that? The big companies own it. It's just like the food industry, right? There's all these little food companies that are bought up by Kellogg's and all General Mills and all these giant companies. So people think that these little companies are not owned by them, or they're somehow like, they're out for the good of humanity, right? Or that the funny thing about ivermectin now, there's a big health person on Twitter who now has big kidney problems. She was posting ivermectin recipes, like how to cook it in foods and stuff like that. And Kelsey goes on and she's like, I knew there was some nephrotoxicity, and there's a mice study on kidney cancer with ivermectin. And we're just sitting here going, oh, the more people think, the more you think you can't be duped, the more you believe that you cannot be duped, the bigger dupe you're going to fall for.
Yeah, smart.
So you must always be like, could I be being fooled? Am I getting fooled right now? Am I getting duped? And then look at things to see, like, why are all these people promoting this all of a sudden? And they're all saying, well, I just think it's great. And it's like, when in the world did you ever write about health before? And they're like, well, I don't, but I thought this was important. And you're like, you're just a psyop. So yeah, the more you think you can't fall for the dupe, the bigger dupe you're going to fall for.
And if you don't mind, I'll bring it back to your other point about splitting men and women up, and then how that reflects the masculine feminine archetype that they've tried hard to suppress both sides and mute, become powerless. And it becomes a lobotomy because we were trained to be certain and not uncertain. Well, guess what? The masculine is certain, the feminine is uncertain. We walk with these both all the time. And what you just described is exactly where you want to be. If you're always certain, you're screwed, because you're going to have to take back your words. You're going to have to repent when you find out that, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We all had to do that somewhere along the lines.
I've done it.
Right. Me too, all the time. And yeah, so it's left brain, right brain. It is like a lobotomy to just shut you down and create a ton of unnecessary conflict and division for people jamming their masculine sides up against each other. And I don't mean that to sound so gross, but
no, I totally get it. Like, especially the red pill stuff is like making men like uber. They're trying to be uber masculine. So then they're losing all the connection to that other stuff. And it's like, that's not That's not the goal. Everybody is some level of a blend of all of it, like yin and yang, right? It's just
Exactly.
like the idea of that concept, like both parts are all part of both. So
I
anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do teach about this a lot. I've got an entire course, the Primal Power, that includes the masculine feminine archetype. The talk that I just gave, the marriage of opposites, was very much centered on that. I do have a stage recording of it. So if anybody joins the House of Free Will as a member, they would get access to that for free. And I'm going to be doing a huge training as I laid there. A ton of stuff bloomed out of me on the subject. And I feel extremely passionate about helping men and women work perfectly together, like God designed. Can I ask one thing? I just noticed Santo Spinaci is in the chat, and he said you just need to drink your own urine to be healthy. What's your take on that, Garrett? I can't tell.
You want to talk on that? Okay. I mean, that's a weird subject, and I've actually thought about this a lot because, okay, I did it. At one point, I was like, okay, I'll try this. Like, I'll try anything, whatever. I was eating raw liver blueberry smoothies. Like, ugh. I will do anything if I think it's healthy. So I did the urine thing, and I felt nothing. Funny thing, another reason why I love Kelsey so much, I was like, did you ever do that? And she's like, of course I did that. And I'm like, I love you so much that she would do, we would both do the same thing. Okay, so what do I think about urine therapy? Where is urine therapy popular? Urine therapy is popular in places that are very, some might call them third world countries. It's popular with people who are not getting a lot of meat. They're malnourished. They're underfed. They're definitely under meated. They're under proteined, if you will. Protein, energy, malnutrition is a big part of that. So India, urine therapy is big in India. Okay. When we look into the research, if we were to think that, okay, so what does the body need to make retinol-binding protein to protect us from vitamin A?
ALDH.
Well, no, actually, it's the two things you need to. You almost had it. Yeah, ALDH is like, people could be like, just answer any of Dr. Smith's questions with ALDH, and you're like 90% of the way there now. So, so what you need to make retinol binding protein, right? Retinol binding protein is a protein made by the body. There's also cellular retinoic acid binding protein. These are made to bind to vitamin A forms to protect us from them. The main narrative is that it's to gently and lovingly deliver the vitamin A to the tissues that need it. Well, we know that's all crap. Retinol binding protein is to protect us. Well, what do you need to make retinol binding protein? You need zinc, and you need, drum roll, protein. So if people are not eating meat, what are they not getting much of in their diet? They're not getting zinc. They're not getting protein. Well, they're getting some protein, but just not much. And I will tell you that the lack of protein in the typical, in many Indian people's diet, the lack of red meat especially, makes them some of the most challenging people for me to help get better. So like, it's like a philosophical thing about food that is preventing me from getting them better. It is what it is. I don't change it. I don't shame them. I'm just like, look, if you don't eat it, there's only so much I can do. So what happens is, what you can find in the research is you can find retinol binding protein in the urine that doesn't have retinol in it. The retinol has been stripped out of it. So there's empty retinol binding protein. So if you had somebody who was on a diet that was making it difficult to make retinol binding protein, and so the vitamin A that they have in their system is damaging stuff more, you could actually you could recycle your retinol binding protein and then see amazing healing happen. So this is why I think in India it works. In places where muscle meat is not eaten much, it can work. But you bring it over to America, and Americans are doing, and they try it, and they're like, this doesn't do anything. I don't feel any better. I don't want to drink my pee. It doesn't taste good. Why am I doing this? That's really, whenever I tried something weird in the past, and I'd be like, am I getting better? No. Do I enjoy doing this? No. Let's stop. It's like, that's the logic that I go through. Am I getting better? No. I mean, I was adding apple juice to it to make it go down easier. So yeah, I was willing to try it, but that's my theory on why urine therapy works in certain areas and doesn't work in places where people eat enough meat. So
Right. Thank you so much. That's the second time I asked you that question. And because everybody always, oh, urine therapy, why didn't you just loop your urine? And I'm like, well, I was dumping bile so severely also and I was peeing a lot, which meant that bile was coming out in the urine. So I'm like, no, it's a no. And like you, I got almost no results when I did it. I went for it. I tried it. I didn't even mind it. I thought it was interesting, but I didn't see any results. So then why do I keep doing what hasn't given me results?
Right. And then, I mean, it's even harder when you're like kind of doing something that's really out there and, you got to explain to people, here's what I'm trying for my health. And they're like, I don't know about that. And then you're like, well, yeah, I'm not getting, then later you got to explain, like, this is why I think a lot of Peters disappear, is because they're eating white sugar for their health and they're bragging about it while they do it. And they're very arrogant and like, they just dismiss everybody else. And then all of a sudden later, when they're not better, they don't want to talk about it anymore because they're like, yeah, I was eating spoonfuls of sugar expecting to like hit some superhuman health and they never did. And now they got to be like, yeah, I don't do that anymore.
Exactly. I know they just disappear. They come up with a vengeance, promoted and literally propagated into the media. We think it's organic. It's not. If anything's coming at you high speed in the media, it's because it's planted.
Yes.
Like if one more person sends me a video about Canada being in probate, I'm going to scream because it's just a bunch of crap. It is a bunch of crap. I have a good explanation if anyone needs to know, but like, I'm over it.
Well, so Beth, I think it's probably about time to wrap it up. Was there anything else you wanted to go over? I mean, I want you to go over all your links and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think we did a good. Yeah, I think we did a good job. I'll just maybe, what are programs? People often use that word, and especially in the truth world. And, it is a blueprint. It is an architecture of energy. It is something that is observable, but normally hidden from your awareness. So you have to learn to pay attention at the level of programs. And then it's like the archetypes, they start to go off in technicolor, and you get access to a much finer level where you are able to see the enemy within. It's not your enemy at all. It's just a place you've tied up a bunch of toxic energy and you need to let it go, but you can't see it, so you didn't let it go. And this is a system for doing this in a much accelerated way. That's the one difference, Garrett, between your work and mine, is that your system, well, not your system, it's how it works. Poison in, poison out. It hurts going in, it hurts coming out. It's just how it is. Now, when you work at this much more subtle level, there's no pain as it comes out. There's pain. You have to feel the pain of the program. Some of them are the worst pains. You're going to die. Nobody loves you. You're not in control. You cannot be connected and have oneness with God or anyone or anything. These are the main wounds that we've suffered, and it's unnecessary suffering to carry them along. The beauty is we create our own programs, therefore we can decide to uncreate them. And the speed with which people can work and get results, to me, is staggering. Every single day of my life, I get to witness people transform right before my eyes. And it's the real deal. It's not just raising your frequency so you feel better and you have this kind of fake high, and then you wonder what happened when you go low again. This is actual transformation that can be demonstrated in a number of different ways, all kinds of results, including saving my life from cancer. Everything that I've been able to do and accomplish in my life has come through this release work, where I think, oh, I can't do that. I'll never do that. I'll never have that. I will never be that. I'll never write my book that I meant to do for 20 years. And I've been able to get through those doors incredibly fast. It is a huge builder of creativity, so beware that it blooms in all of your ability to stop just troubleshooting problems all day long, but to put things out in front of you. The free imagination, when it's not tied up with programs, it creates. And that's the remedy to everything in the world right now, is you're creating this world for people. If you didn't create this world for people, we wouldn't get the benefit. And so you are tasked. It's your sacred purpose to get out and create what God tells you to create, and be that benefit to your people or humanity, even as a whole. And that's why the archetypes can be such a beautiful map for that. We don't have a map of consciousness. I had no guides whatsoever. I'm just walking blind in the unconscious, looking for what's killing me, right? And I was highly motivated to do that. But so now I've made it my task. I've put myself to the task to create maps for people that can be followed much more easily than when I had to do the work for myself. So they can just step into it. They can inherit it, like your Love Your Liver course, that you come in and you can use the search bar to search any herb, any food, any protocol, any question, or you've got your feed where you can ask a question. And so these become shortcuts for the people. What took you a really long time to do, maybe people are going to start doing faster.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope people surpass me in the process, because that's exactly what we need, is more speed on the good creative side, rather than, all the bad stuff we already talked about. So yeah, that is one of the things, unless there's something you wanted to say about that.
Well, no, I wanted to add that. So when I did those couple of sessions with you, when you were saying there's no like detox dumping symptoms, I wanted to emphasize that was absolutely true. Like, when we get to what the issue was, the program was, the feeling I got is you're kind of, you would ask kind of, this was one of the things you'd be like, are you okay with letting that go or releasing that? And it's funny, this was the worst part of it. I'd feel like, am I okay with letting it was weird. And I'm going, I know in my conscious mind, I was like, I don't need this. I don't want this. But there was that other part of me inside of me going, maybe I keep it. I don't know. And then I would think, I was like, no, I can let it go. And then I would let it go. So so it wasn't, that was the only discomfort, was like, oh, I could keep this BS. I might want to keep it because, it's change is hard, right? And we get used to our poisons and we want to keep taking them. And then I just would do the work with you and let it go. And then I was like, oh yeah, I do feel better now. So the feeling better was immediate after once you got to the issue and you got over letting it go and you let it go. And it was, so yeah, I do want to say that you're very right in that.
Exactly. And then so the programs promise you that you can't live without them, that nobody's ever going to love you and approve of you if you don't have them, that you can't have connection without them, and that you can't be in control of your life. So we listen to programs as our authority. We don't know we're doing it. It's entirely an unconscious arrangement. And as soon as you see the conscious arrangement and it's yelling on my shoulder going, you're going to die, don't let me go at all costs. And then I've learned over time, because guess what also accumulates? Toxicity accumulates, but freedom accumulates. The awareness and knowledge accumulates. And you're like, oh, I've seen you before, you poor thing. Are you suffering? Come here, let me give you a big hug and let you go. Yeah. And then you have immediate proof. Like you said, immediate proof. You feel differently. You see a situation differently. You are able to do something that you couldn't do before. And it is a miracle. And I have so much respect for people that are brave enough to do it. It is not everyone. I've had, real strong, big, accomplished king heroes in my world. And as soon as they feel they have to run the other direction, it's like, nope, this is going to kill me. They still believe it's going to harm them. But it's the other way around. It harms you when you don't let it go. So that's always my prayer for everybody, to gain some access to their hidden inner life.
Yes. Change is hard. It's not going to be easy, but as I remind myself, is that the pain of staying the same has, for people to want to change, right? The pain of change has to be considered less than the pain of staying the same. And so if you admit that you're just suffering from it, then it makes it much easier to say, I want to change it. And then you go looking for things, or you can do what I often suggest, which is praying for a solution.
Yes.
And then you're looking for a solution and you're praying for it, you're asking for it to come, and then you're in the mindset of a solution is coming, and then you look for it, but the solution is going to be you doing something. It's always you doing something. It's not just nothing. Don't expect things to be just given to you. You got to do stuff to get things, even if it's just to improve yourself.
When you do things, I had this revelation new again last night. I've had it before, but when you do things, God's grace can happen, because that's ultimately how all healing takes place. And if you go the distance and do what you can do and feel what you can feel, then the grace of God showers down, and it is that's where the miracles happen.
Yes.
So last thing, I'm sorry if I'm taking your time. Do you have another minute just to?
Yes, absolutely.
People forget to want freedom. And this is the most important thing. It's very close to wanting a solution, but sometimes that can be programming too, that you want to fix and change things.
Oh, yeah.
And the more you try to fix and change things, the more they stay the same. You might notice that. And then so if you flip that and you learn to want freedom, and you exercise that muscle of wanting freedom more than you want to be loved, more than you even want to live, then it starts to pull you forward, and it becomes like the grace, or it is the grace of God, that your life is going to end up being a demonstration of that freedom, and also a demonstration of where you're not free. So you get the sudden karmas, and you get the instant reflections, and you get you make a little mistake and you get a big knife in your solar plexus from it, because you've got more awareness. And this is the driver, the beautiful driver behind all of it, is this desire for freedom.
I like it.
Nice.
Well, so Beth, why don't you tell us about, things that, your website and other, the quiz and all that stuff that you've got to offer.
Sure. Thank you very much. So if you go to my website, and I believe Joe has shared the link a few times, you can do a quiz in 10 minutes. You can find out where on the hero's journey you are. So which of the 8 archetypes that I write about in my book, and flash that again, and you'll get some instant feedback. And I've got 8 videos for each of the 8 archetypes that teach about the gifts and the shadows of each archetype. They're a package deal. You don't get one without the other, just so you know. And it becomes a place that you can begin to inquire and do some work. So it helps you, because we're all connected. It's all one. That's absolutely true. So you're all archetypes on the hero's journey at one time. But how can you narrow it down and simplify it so you can start to do some work right now and start to get the benefit? So I have all kinds of people report that just doing the quiz alone set them on a good trajectory. You can also read through the 8 archetypes and the story of me surviving cancer in my book. I have many people that say they read it, and then they read it again, and then they read it again. And I prayed that this book would be of great service to people. You can also now sign up. This is something I've created in the last year, since the new year, is to do an archetype reading with me. So then you can learn more quickly about where you're at, where the stuck points are, and begin to do that deprogramming work. People have made huge changes in one reading alone. And like I said, I do one-on-one coaching, a number of different packages. I still help people in business when they have a righteous, sacred business that they want to get out there and really help people. I'll stand behind that. I don't help anyone sell widgets, so please don't ask me about any of that kind of stuff. I don't do SEO. That's not my jam. But to create a service that is really your heart and your soul, and God keeps calling you for it, and making sure that you don't sleep at night until you do this, then I'm there for you, because that's exactly what I went through. And I've been doing that for at least 15 years already. That was my original background, was in business. And then I can't stress enough, for those of you that might want to also help others become a deprogramming and archetype coach, however you call yourself. Just don't call yourself a life coach. That's the worst possible description ever. It means nothing. Then please do come and say hello, and you can apply to be part of my next training. They have a very small number of people. I give a ton of attention over 7 months. They become family. The depth that they work and the risks that they take are phenomenal. I want to really shout out to all of you guys. Some are in the chat already. They have made huge progress in your work as well. If Amy, if you don't mind, if I shout out to you that you've got fantastic results in my work, and with Garrett now you've had to change your glasses twice in order for your prescription to work. That's how much her eyesight improved just doing the Love Your Liver. And it was my work that I think allowed her to very easily start adopting new ideas and to have that flexibility at the mental emotional level that can be so hard to get. So a lot of these beautiful souls are coming over to your work at the same time as mine, and I just I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, there was also, wasn't there somebody who was doing both, who just was recently able to reduce a lot of meds that they were doing?
Shout out, you know who you are if you're hearing this. And she's one of the bravest women I've ever met. And she now thinks that it was actually a liver poisoning that caused her to start hearing voices.
Mm.
And, going through, unfortunately, what the medical world terms psychotic episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And she had just signed up for my work in the intensive department. And she knew that she was always looking for something in her life. And then here she was, my student, and going through this intensity. So as the months went on and as I got to know your work, I strongly encouraged her to start watching your live streams. And I think she's signed up for your course now. It's a little bit harder for her to do that, but she's still got enough knowledge. She quit her vitamin D, she quit her vitamin C, she quit a lot of the vitamin A. She says she eats a lot more oatmeal now and soluble fiber. And she was able to reduce her medication down to a place that blew her psychiatrist away, that didn't bring back the psychoses. So this is something that I pray very soon she can stop intoxing with any of that stuff. But the dramatic reduction is a huge thing. And she's reported a lot of, I don't have her words exactly right in front of me, but I've got way too many documents open here. And yeah, she's noticed so many changes and differences on both sides that she's she said the marriage of both your worlds is directly helping me right now.
Yeah. I mean, well, I've gone on the research of like, I'm not saying schizophrenia here, but I'm saying like, we've got the research on vitamin A and schizophrenia, and we've got the research on copper toxicity and schizophrenia. And so if we are fixing both of those, then, between working on, again, it's like lifting weights without eating food would not make anybody, more muscular. It's like, you got to do both sides of, there's like the structural part, and then there's like the activity part, right? You got to do both of them.
Exactly.
Or that I could say that's the best way to get the most results the quickest is. And maybe if you don't do one side, you're probably going to be very limited at some point in your results. So,
well, I'll use a quick example of somebody who worked with me and went very, very deep. They went very deep and they were courageous with the work. And then they broke down entirely. Why? Because they're so toxic. It complete breakdown and what appears to be a reversal of the work. And they became like an angry person. And I don't know, it's not, it might be temporary. Who knows where that's headed, but you can't ignore the flesh.
right.
It's a gift. It has been given to us for a reason, and we are the stewards to care for it. It's our temple, right? And our temple has been so severely polluted, not just because of our mistake, but they're trying to kill us every single day through the generations, right? This isn't any new thing. And now I also like to get the message out that we're running with such severe weights on right now. It takes extreme measures to reverse. And the fact that we could be healthy in any way is testament to the strength of the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because every day we face these assaults and still prevail in our having open hearts and minds.
Humans are amazingly resilient. We are. It's amazing what they try to do to us, and we do suffer from it, but we're still going. And so, yeah, it's just people's lives can be much better if they just stop putting in the poisons and stop with the programming and all that stuff, and they just you just use less energy to do everything. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was having a vision of when your work blooms to the next level, and I really feel like that's any second now. And if the world had a lot less toxic people in it, it would absolutely change things. Our interactions, our relationships, everything would get that much more easy, and we could work together much more easily.
Absolutely. So did you say you said bethmartens.com? That's where they can find all this stuff, right?
Yeah, you can find my podcast there. You can find the quiz there. You can find opportunities to work with me. I always ask people to apply for coaching so I can make sure that it's actually right for you before we get into any kind of relationships. You can buy some of my courses. I have a Find Your Sacred Purpose course, very popular. Actually, I'd have no idea. I thought everybody knew their sacred purpose at one point, and a lot of people are searching. There was a huge testimonial from someone who's in the chat, and that was like, to me, I'm going to read that every day that I get discouraged, because she came into it feeling purposeless and now is feeling full of purpose. And this is a game changer. It's the reason to take care of yourself. It's the reason to do your work. It's the reason to serve, and which is ultimately the hero's journey. So huge shout out to you. You know who you are. Yeah.
So I think we're ready to wrap up. What do you think,
Okay.
Beth?
Sounds great. This has been fabulous. I continue to love you very much, and that, don't take that the wrong way. Just
no, I know you speak highly of me, like everywhere you go, and I really appreciate it. It's a great compliment, and I'm glad I was able to help you, and you're helping your people with it, and you helped me, and here we are. We're gonna tell everybody about your work so that you can hopefully help other people with your stuff. That's the plan. So
fantastic. I was, can I share just two things? Yeah. One is there is the possibility that you and I talked about of creating an actual course for only Love Your Liver people that are making this transition themselves, so that it's relevant specifically to them. And then the second thing, a quick story. I got on the plane to come home to Mexico, and I said to myself, now, Beth, just be quiet. Don't talk to the guy next to you. You just rest and stuff like that. Well, of course, we ended up talking. Of course, I ended up sharing about the Love Your Liver. He started bawling. He was so grateful to hear that there actually are solutions. He was a grown man, and it touched him to the end of the earth. So no doubt you're going to be seeing him. And I couldn't feel more strongly about sharing your work.
Well, thank you very much. And I was happy to have you on. So what we're working on next week, folks, the next live stream. Well, you guys got all the information to contact Beth and to find her stuff. Next week, I think I have to do measles. I'm going to do measles because I can't stand folks, you just saw the World Health Organization and the CDC and MAHA and RFK all align on shots and vitamin A. So if you think there's somebody out there that's magically rooting for you and they're going to protect you, no, they're doing the same stuff.
Amen.
So one of the things that is short in the measles cases, it's crazy. Protein. I'm going to pull up the research on protein, energy, malnutrition, and measles. And I'll go through the whole toxic bile theory on it, because I have to do it right now, the timing of it, and then I'll do infertility psyop after that. So I know y'all will enjoy that. And well, thank you for coming on, Beth. It was great. I know I normally don't have too many guests on, so it was very special to have you on. And we'll keep both working on getting people better, and we'll go from here. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. It's been a total pleasure.
Absolutely. And Joe was just asking, we will be back at the normal time on Tuesday coming up. So we will see you all then. Bye now.